We're going to be demonstrating state management with Flutter RIverpod using this crypto app running in our emulator. For now, these are static data that we are manipulating with timer in our code. So we're setting duration to handle these live updates or to simulate these live updates that we see on our screen. In subsequent videos, we're going to hook this up to Firebase so that we can load our data in real time. For now, this will do for our demonstration. So to set up our app to use a Flutter RIverpod, there are a couple of things we need to do. So I'm going to show you my popspec.yaml. Before we do that, let me just demonstrate what is happening in this app. We can log trade. So I'm going to click log trade, and then here in execute trade, this dialog, we have the option of buying or selling. So we want to buy Bitcoin, for instance. There's a drop down here. We can choose either Ethereum or Solana as we like. So say we want to buy Ethereum, for instance, we have to enter amount here. Say we have 0.75, and then we can confirm trade. So we have it here in our transaction activity log. Let's buy more, or maybe we want to sell this time. We want to sell Bitcoin. Maybe you want to sell 0.0002 Bitcoin. You can confirm trade here. So it's been logged here in our transaction activity. And then for our holdings, we have three cryptocurrencies here: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. We can edit any of this holding. Maybe we want to set this to 4.21, save holding, and then it's been updated here. We're going to get into all of the code handling this, and then we have let me show you my popspec.yaml. We have Flutter RIverpod, we have shared preferences. So this data is being persisted in our phone storage. So which means that if I were to stop this app now and then go back to my emulator, so it's gone, and then I can reopen the app here, and then we still have our data being persisted. So that's one thing I want us to pay attention to. So I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to try to relaunch the app here so that we can work with these in case we make any changes there. Okay, so now we still have it back. So a couple of things. Let's look at Flutter RIverpod, pop.dev, and then we can just search for Flutter RIverpod here. So we have a reactive. We can just click on it. So this is what we have. Let's go to installing. I think we've covered this. It's just a revision anyway. So to install, you can copy this and then paste in our terminal, or we copy this in our popspec.yaml and then install. There is an example here. I think they're doing a re-implementation of the default counter app in Flutter, or they're doing something different here. I think that's exactly what they're doing. In any case, there's something I want us to pay attention to. They have a documentation here, okay, here. So I think this is a good resource for learning RIverpod. So I will urge us to try to study this. So we can go here, and then we can read about RIverpod, for instance, providers. So the providers are a central feature. I think we've talked about this in our subsequent, in our previous videos. So providers essentially memorize functions. Okay, I think I'm not with sugar on top. What this means is providers are functions which will return a cached value when called with the same parameters. So what I want to go down here so we can look at RIverpod, some of these providers that we can use in the application. There's future provider. So this is equivalent of the best result is cached using user provider multiple times. So this is going to when we are trying to fetch, it's used for for fetching asynchronous data. So, but this is it's we fetch it once and then we cache the data. But there is another one, stream provider, that is used for updating our UI with continuous stream of data. So we have a couple of providers there. There is a synchronous future stream, and then we have provider, which is synchronous. It's under the classification of unmodifiable. So we have a future provider, and then we have the stream provider. So then we have notify provider, async notify provider, and such. So if we want to read more, we can just click on this and then we can study more on what these providers, all these different providers, what they can do for us in our application. Over time, RIverpod has replaced a provider because RIverpod is more adaptive to large application. Then it also handles some of the issues that the provider package has in managing states across our application. So there's consumers here. This is how we use a consumer. A consumer is a type of widget that bridges the gap between the widget tree and the provider tree. So in our application, we can use consumer like this. So we can return a consumer widget, which takes this builder property. So we subclass stateless as usual. So, okay, a builder widget is similar to feature builder. It allows widget to interact with providers. You can read all of these. I'm trying my bit not to prolong this tutorial because well, I'm going to leave you with the code anyway, so you can just play with the code. So there is another one we can also do to consume our data. We can extend consumer widget. So it's a variant of stateless widget. Instead of subclassing stateless widget, you subclass consumer widget and it to behave the same. So you can study these material. It's actually like is very useful. So this will enhance our understanding of how RIverpod works. Okay, we also have refs here. Refs are the primary way to interact with the provider. So refs are fairly similar to build context and Flutter, but for providers instead of a widget. So we can read about all of this. So let's go back to our application and then let's see what we have here. Okay, there's another thing. Shared preferences. Let's go back to pop.dev. Shared preferences. So we're using shared preferences to persist our data in our phone storage. So you can also read about shared preferences here. I'm not going to get into all of this because the documentation are here. So I think everything is well documented here. They have an example here that we can just study. So that's it. Don't please. I know this AI thing is like it's getting everybody excited, but I don't think it's wise to lose your ability to code to program to AI. That's just my uh, that's just my opinion anyway. So let's go back to uh, Android Studio, and then let's go back. Let's go to where do we start this? Let's look at our models. Our models are like they're like what do we call it now? Representation of our data, some like schema. So here we have a crypto asset, which is holding these three properties, and then we're passing them in our. So we're going to make use of this. We're going to set the values later on in our code, and then we have a provider holding. Here we have assets, ID, amounts, the types are specified here, and then we have this map to JSON. So the map to JSON, this is used to we used to we're setting this to a map, this object that is being returned here in our constructor. We are setting it to a map, and then this is that map. So our key is going to be string, our value is going to be dynamic. So we are setting it here, and then here in our factory method, well, since we're not sure we have this data already, so we're using this factory, and then this from JSON we're using this to deserialize our data, and then the type is so essentially what we're doing here is we're transforming our map payload, we're transforming it to a type safe object so that we can use it in our application. So eventually when we make use of this, we're going to like serialize it with we're going to serialize it into a raw string using the JSON encode function in our application. And then this architecture that we've implemented here, we also implement it here in our transaction record. So this is just a schema for our data. So let's not forget our data is static at the minute. We're loading it. We are passing our data into our UI statically. It's local here. Everything is set inside our code. Later on, we're going to be hooking this to Firebase so that we can load our data real time from a database. So we're implementing the same architecture that we did here. So okay, so that's for models. What is? Let's look at providers. No, before providers, let's look at share preferences. Here we have an abstract class. An abstract class has to be implemented by another class. So we have app storage here, and then we have this get string and then set string. If you're familiar with how shared preferences work, we have what is it now? Let's go back up. So we're running this app, and then we have the shared preference demo, and then here we call there's a method here. I'm looking at set string and get string. I don't think okay, so this is using get int here, so which means the data they're trying to store is it's a string type. Sorry, it's an hint type. What am I saying? So anyway, so we have get instance, which is used to get what was stored anyway. So I'm gonna go back here, and then where is it? Okay, let's look at disk storage. So in our disk storage, we are implementing our app storage, that abstract class, and then we're overriding the two methods that we have there. and then from shared preferences using get string, and then the key is going to be the key that we pass here. The same thing here. This is used to set string. So think the data we're going to be storing is going to be string type. So we're going to be using this to set. So we're going to be using key and then the value here. And then in memory storage, we also have this implementation. What else? Okay, let's look at providers. I think provider is next before we get into main.dat. Let's look at providers. So in the providers, let's look at market providers. So in the market providers, we're using a future provider, which we're getting from Flutter RIverpod. This returns an asynchronous data, but then it's not. It's just going to cache once. It's not a continuous stream of data. So in here we are returning. We've talked about ref. Okay, so the provider is using these crypto assets. So it's going to be updating our UI with this crypto asset, depending on how we use it. Maybe we're watching for it in the application later. So, and we're setting the generic to list. So ref allows us to communicate with other providers. Like we said, feature provider returns async data. So it's the type is async, and then we're returning a list of crypto assets. So we're setting the values here. And then there's another one, live price stream provider, which is a stream provider. Now we're using family here because we want to pass an extra argument here. So apart from ref, we're passing asset ID here. And then we're also using stream.periodic. The stream.periodic allows us to use this duration method here. So with this, we're able to do this. So this that is updating. So we're doing it like the duration is every 3 seconds, and then we're doing this math variance, and then we're returning base price plus variance. So we have an extension here. This extension start with. So this start with, we use this start with these what is it called, with these stream.periodic, and then we're starting with base price. So what it does is it injects a synchronous initial value into our live stream provider, so that in the event that something got stuck here, we still have an initial value. So you look at base price. So we have this or 100. So this just ensure that these live updates, in the event that something happened, we still have data being displayed there. And then here we have portfolio notifier provider. Is using notifier provider, and then we have inside here this triangular bracket, we have portfolio. So essentially what this is saying is that this portfolio notifier provider, this provider, it's going to be implemented by this class known as portfolio notifier, and then we're going to feed into our UI this portfolio holding, this list of portfolio holding. So essentially that's what this is saying. So notifier provider, if you want to take a peek into what we have, just command B. So this is, you see what we have here. First class notifier provider extends notifier, and then you go down here, you can read about it. You see, so this is the implementation in what is it called, in Flutter RIverpod. So in case you want to know, I'm not going to get into all of this. So so essentially this notifier provider allows us to implement mutable what is it called, uh, immutable or immutable data, complex, when we are handling complex mutable data, but yeah, we use this notifier provider. So this is the class that this portfolio notifier depends on. So then this is being feed into our UI. The same thing with this one. You have transaction notifier. So we can go into this class, Command B on Mac, Control B on Windows. So here we have a portfolio notifier, and then our storage key. This is for our shared preferences, and then here we are watching for our storage provider, and then we're getting a string here, and then this is for serializing. So okay, what else do we have here? Now we're returning this portfolio holding. We're setting asset ID to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, like so. And then this is the method for saving to our disk using our storage provider. I think we already know our storage provider here. I think we've talked about storage provider, haven't we? Okay, I think we should do that. Okay, so it's just provider, storage provider. Just we're calling our provider here. If we go back here, then we go down here, you see what provider does for us. You say it's unmodifiable, it's synchronous provider here. So that's what we're using here. So I'm going to go back to market providers. No, I think we've done that. Portfolio notifier provider, that's where we had at the minute. And then for our set holding, this is the method that we are calling here. If we do this, you see safe holding. So this is what we're doing here in the event that we modify our amount owned here. So we can save holding, and then we're going to get into confirm trade later, but I'm just showing you what this method is doing now. So that's set holding, and then for the remove holding, that's for the delete icon that we have there. And then what is let's look at persistent notifier. Okay, I don't think there's much going on here. And then what is storage notifier? I think I've talked about that. And then what transaction notifier? I don't want to spend too much time on this. I don't want this video to get too long. I don't see. Okay, for our state, remember we said we're going to be using JSON encode to serialize our data so that we can use as raw string here. So that's what we're doing. We're still going to use it in our application as well. So what is, I hope I'm not missing any key aspect of what we're doing here. So at every point we are saving to disk so that we can persist our data in our phone storage. So here too we are saving to disk. Market providers. Okay, so then this is just raw data anyway. So okay, what else do we have here? I think I've done justice to these providers. I'm gonna leave you with the code. I don't. If we have to start, if I have to start explaining this line by line, this tutorial is just going to prolong. We've already talked about .watch. Watch builds our UI. It rebuilds our UI whenever data changes. So you can just read more about this in Flutter RIverpod, because we've talked about this in provider package. And then we go to our presentation, our screen. We have a dashboard screen. In the dashboard screen, we have portfolio header card, which is this. So inside our portfolio header card, we can take a peek into what is going on here. So we have total portfolio value, And then we have valuation dot to string. What is the valuation coming from? It's watching our portfolio valuation provider. So I think we've done shown us that. Uh, we call it a provider here, and then it's watching our portfolio notifier provider, and then we are looping through this Odin in Odins. So this Odins is from our, what is it called? It's the data that we are watching here. So that's what is going on here. And this is just regular data programming. So let's go back to dashboard screen. I think we've touched on that. And then portfolio holding list. This is it. This one. So if we do this, and then we have this. So remember, so we're watching. So whatever we're watching in, well, when we're using Flutter RIverpod, our build context, or our build method takes extra arguments, ref. So this allows us to watch, to inject our provider here. So you see this ref. So within ref.watch, so across our widget. So that's portfolio notifier. So it's watching over portfolio notifier. So whenever the data in a portfolio notifier provider changes, our UI is going to rebuild. This portfolio notifier, let me just open it. So you see it's of notifier provider. So we have, I think we've talked about this. I don't think I should dwell too long on that anymore. So we're in portfolio holding list. So let's go back there, and then this is return. It's returning. So we have we're watching for two providers here. Market asset provider. I think we've touched on that, and then we want to return asset async one, and then we're passing the data. We're going to be using this assets parameter to track our data, and then I think this is portfolio notifier is there is a list being passed here. So we're having audience that is, if audience is empty, we want to pass this message. Otherwise, we just return our list view builder. So I'm not going to touch too much on this. So this just, I think that's it. It's not much. And then for our widgets, we have our dialogues. I think we've demonstrated our dialogues before now. Portfolio header card, that's the card for our portfolio header. And then portfolio holding list. So here, I'm going to leave us with the code, and then we can just go through it. And then whereas if you go here, let's look at our main.dat. So to use our Flutter RIverpod inside our main method, the run app method, we need to use provider scope. So if we go back here, go back. Okay. Example. So here we are passing, where's it? Run my app. So we have provider scope. So say adding provider scope enables RIverpod for the entire project. So this is very important to use Flutter RIverpod. So we have our provider scope here. Now we have this overrides property, which receives is as expectant array or a list now. So what this is saying is whatever provider we write here, we pass here, it's telling Flutter to override the default implementation of our storage provider and then use this instead. So we have our app storage here. We've talked about app storage. So it's been implemented by disk storage and in-memory storage. So that allows us to persist our data inside our phone. So we are setting app storage value here, disk storage and in-memory storage. And then for here we are passing crypto portfolio app. And this is crypto portfolio app. We're returning dashboard screen in our home property of material app. So I don't know, what else do I need to talk about? I think that's all for this. And then in subsequent tutorial we're going to